I'm sure you guys are all familiar with Erich von Däniken and the Chariot of the Gods. But there is another discovery involving this legendary archaeologist that has faded away over the years. In 1973, at the height of his fame for his work on the Chariot of the Gods, he told the world about a gigantic tunnel system in Ecuador, which he was told spanned the length of the entire continent. And within this tunnel system, there was a room or a hall that possessed amazing artifacts and books that were made out of metal. Now, the native people of this particular area were just primitive Indian tribes with no written language whatsoever, making people believe that there might just have been an unknown, highly advanced civilization that once lived here. Now, since Erich von Däniken was so famous, this alleged discovery did make headline news throughout the world, but at that time, there was really no evidence at all to support these claims. Now, this story centered around a man named Janos. He was the one that claimed to have discovered this tunnel system and the metal library, and he contacted Erich von Däniken and showed him parts of the structure. And Erich was just blown away, as it did appear to be man-made, and he stated, "The passages all form perfect right angles. Sometimes they are narrow, sometimes wide. The walls are smooth and often seem to be polished. The ceilings are flat and at times look as if they were covered with a kind of glaze. My doubts about the existence of these underground tunnels vanished as if by magic, and I felt tremendously happy." Now, after seeing this, Erich told the world, although he never personally saw the metal library. Now, this story got very famous very fast, and a German journalist decided to investigate, and Janos told this journalist that he had never shown Erich von Däniken any ancient tunnel system. Now, everybody thought that Erich von Däniken was nothing more than a liar, a fraud, and his career, at least at that time, was over. But what's really interesting about this interview is Janos never said that this tunnel system or this metal library didn't exist. And in 1975, Neil Armstrong himself went to go investigate, and he met up with Janos, and Janos did show him parts of this tunnel system, as well as many amazing artifacts. Now, thanks to Neil Armstrong, everybody now believed that Erich von Däniken was actually telling the truth, and Janos, for whatever reason, was a liar. Then a man named Stanley Hall, who was also blown away by this discovery, started to do an investigation of his own, and he uncovered that Janos himself had never actually seen this metal library. Now, after a lot of detective work, Stanley uncovered that there was another man involved, and this man told Janos about this underground tunnel system and the metal library, but he never showed anybody the actual location. And when Janos found out that there was in fact a highly advanced tunnel system, he believed that this man was telling the truth. And Stanley also uncovered that this is why Janos lied to the German journalist about Erich von Däniken, as he was trying to protect this man's identity, and also because he was trying to keep this a secret, as he wanted to be the one to find the metal library. So who the heck was this other man, and what did he know? Now, Stanley Hall was determined to find out, and it took him almost 20 years, but in 1991 he found him, and his name was Petronio. Now, Petronio told Stanley everything, and finally the mystery of this metal library was gonna see the light of day. This man told Stanley that in 1946, when he was 17 years old, his uncle, who was a good friend with the local tribe, showed him an amazing underground structure, and within the structure, there was a huge library of metal books stacked on shelves. And within these books, there were strange graphs, geometric designs, and written inscriptions. And he also found a lot of translucent crystal tablets, huge human statues, tons of sealed doors, which he believed at the time were tombs, and he also noticed a very large sarcophagus sculpted from hard, translucent material containing a golden skeleton of a very large human being. Now, this was an amazing sight to see. It was just full of unknown information and treasure, and it seemed that this place was built to preserve information, and Petronio believed that whoever built this place was preparing for an upcoming disaster, and they wanted their knowledge to survive. Well, at least, that is what he believed. Now, this 17-year-old kid wanted to take some of these metal books with him, but they were just too heavy. So instead, he left his initials in 7 of them to prove to the world that he did in fact enter the site. Now, Petronio was a very smart man, as he knew that he had no real evidence to back up his story, so he decided to stay hidden in the shadows for all these years. And for whatever reason, he decided to tell Janos and Stanley about what he saw that day. And Janos spent most of his life trying to find this underground location, and Stanley spent most of his life trying to find Petronio. Now, Petronio never revealed this location to anyone, and we can only imagine why. But Stanley was so persistent, Petronio eventually agreed. He told Stanley that he would take him to the metal library. Now, Stanley was so excited, and while he was preparing for the expedition of the century, Petronio got assassinated, making many believe that other people, very powerful people, also knew of this location, and they wanted to keep it a secret. And maybe Petronio knew this all along, and that's why he never told anybody where the metal library was. Now this is one amazing story, and if this is true, it could change everything. Now it would appear that whoever made this was either extraterrestrial in origin, giants, or giant human beings, and this story is almost identical to one of my previous videos about the Busigi Mountain discovery. And also in my last video, we talked about a man named Bruce Fenton and his work in Ecuador, where he and his colleagues found huge tools that were just too big for humans. And they also discovered a giant pyramid made out of huge stone blocks. And some of these blocks weighed up to 2 tons. And also the tribes throughout this region do say that giants once lived here. And this location is not that far away from these massive underground tunnel systems. Now I believe that we might just be getting very close to uncovering this amazing mystery, as every single year more and more archaeologists keep uncovering more clues about these giants and our past. So hopefully it's only a matter of time, and one day the truth might just be revealed. Until next time, this is Paranormal Junkie. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned.